Welcome to Golf Smarter Mulligans, number 25. I'm Fred Green. Today our guest is Suzanne Noblett. Now, along with being one of Golf Range Magazine's top 50 instructors in America, Suzanne is also a two-time LPGA Midwest Section Teacher of the Year, and the Midwest Section covers 14 states. Impressive. Now, this interview with Suzanne was a listener request that was originally recorded in the spring of 2007. And it's the evergreen nature of these instructional episodes in our library, which are no longer available in all podcast aggregators, that Golf Smarter Mulligans was created. Golf instruction may get updated based on new equipment, but the swing methods, the practice strategies, and the mental game strategies, which we discuss today, are always fresh and helpful. Today we focus on getting the most out of your range sessions. Her message is try to avoid being a raker, the kind of player who pays for a bucket and then hits the ball, rakes over another, hits the ball, rakes over another. Get my point? You need to practice with intention and attention on what to accomplish on each shot if you want to get better. Golf Smarter Mulligans is supported by two guys with golfballs.com, offering premium used golf balls at a fraction of the cost of new ones. Don't go ahead and buy new golf balls when you can play premium quality used balls that have been hit only one time. They don't have germs on them. They've been sanitized. They've been hand inspected, and they've been graded so that you know when you purchase a ball, whether you buy a par, birdie, or eagle ball, you're going to get exactly what you had hoped for, and you paid half the price. Two Guys with Golf Balls also gives Golf Smarter listeners and Golf Smarter Mulligans listeners an additional 10% off every order, every time with the coupon code GolfSmarter. That's two guys with golfballs.com, and the discount offer expires April 1, 2020. Mulligans is also brought to you by Autoslash.com. Autoslash.com is a rental car booking service that will save you time and money and a lot of hassle. Autoslash applies every coupon code to your next car rental, including coupons you're eligible for based on your various memberships or frequent flyer programs. You member AAA or Costco? They'll check into those discounts as well. Then they'll track your reservation until the day you pick up the car, and they'll email you when they find a better rate. Sometimes you'll get an email every single day, but you don't have to act on it. All you need to know is that the average user saves 30% from any other booking site. And that's why I love Autoslash.com, because of the savings, and the service they have is absolutely free. So bookmark it now on your browser and use it for your next car rental so that you can get the best rate possible from the completely free Autoslash.com. Welcome, Suzanne.
Hello.
Looking through your bio, there's a couple of questions I have to ask. Tell me the Elvis story.
Oh, the Elvis story, yes. My dad grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, and when he graduated from college and was out in the military, one of his first professional jobs was with Ford Motor Company in Memphis. And he was in the main dealership there in Memphis, and it was right after Elvis had gotten out of the service. And he came in, and he was to pick up a special Lincoln that he had ordered, but it wasn't available yet. So he had to speak to my dad. My dad was the one he had to speak to in order to get permission to borrow the showroom Lincoln that was on the floor until his arrived. And my dad got to meet with him, and he said that he was the most polite, genuine person that he's probably ever met. Very kind and a good person.
And did he get a picture with him?
I think he has a picture with him somewhere.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to pull that one out and put it back up on the wall.
Yeah. And actually, my grandmother met him, too, twice. She used to work in this, she used to work in this Bible bookstore in Memphis. And they were closing. She got a phone call during closing hours, and the voice asked if they could stay open a little bit longer, and she said, well, we're closing. And the voice said, well, Mr. Presley was hoping that he could come in and do some shopping for some friends and relatives, and they said, oh, absolutely, you know. And he came in and shopped after hours, and she said the same thing. He was so polite and just a genuine person.
I guess in the 50s and 60s, when you're in Memphis and somebody said Mr. Presley, everybody jumped.
Oh, yeah.
And you're related to Lyndon Johnson?
I am. He is actually a distant cousin of mine. Mm-hmm.
But never got a chance to meet or be at the same family function or anything?
No, never had that pleasure. My mom's side of the family was one of the first families to settle the state of Texas before it became a state, actually. And the organization is called Daughters of Texas. But we're related.
That's so cool. Well, it's been great to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
That's enough, right?
Exactly. No, we're doing our American Idol version of Golf Smarter today.
Yeah.
So, what song are you going to sing? All right. So, in your method of teaching golf, and congratulations, I see that you were named once one of the top 50 instructors of the year.
Yes, for Golf Range Magazine in 2006. Yes, I was very privileged to be considered part of that select group. Very honored.
That's great. How is it for, and I hate if this sounds sexist at all, but how well do men receive being taught by a woman?
You know, I actually have more men clients than I do women clients. And I've just been very fortunate. I'm very easygoing, and I don't try to make anything difficult. I try to make things as simple as possible. I don't get upset, and I explain that no question is stupid, and please don't hesitate to ask. And we always try to relate the information to activities or sports that they've previously played, and they just seem to be more comfortable.
Well, I'm so happy to hear that no question is stupid, because I'm more at ease now talking to you. I was nervous, like, that was really a dumb question, Fred.
No.
Good. How, in your teaching method, how much time do you spend on the mental aspect of the game versus the technical or mechanical side of the game?
Well, the mental game, you know, if you asked probably a non-golfer, because they hear this too, they would probably say, well, the mental game is 90%. And it's definitely a great part of it. I always try to incorporate a little bit of it in the lesson, certainly in the visualization, in the pre-shot routine. And when I have my clients step away from the ball, I have them begin their pre-shot routine with picturing their idea of what the perfect shot should look like that they're about ready to play. Because I explain to them that, you know, that's a form of commitment. And if they're able to picture that perfect shot and then step in and address the ball with that positive, perfect shot in their head, all that's left is aim it and play. Because when we step up to play our shot, we don't want a lot of garbage, if you want to say, floating around in our heads like, oh no, there's out of bounds, there's water, there's deep rough, there's, you know, because we don't want to be bothered with that. If we get the garbage in our head, back off, start over. We don't want to plan it to death before we play our shot. But if we can commit before we're about ready to play, we're much more apt to play the shot that we want.
So true. And then after the pre-shot routine, then the shot, it just so happens that we have a lousy shot afterwards, and we start beating ourselves up, and that we carry that with us. Do you have a post-shot routine as well? How do you deal with that? How do you say, "Oh, I'm terrible"?
Well,
or avoid
there are a few ways to deal with that. Number one, let's step away and let's take another swing without a ball, rehearsal swing, and rehearse it the way that we wanted to play it. That way you're not leaving that spot with that negative thought of, I missed it, it's over. The other thing is, the most important shot that you're about ready to play, that's it. That's the most important shot, the one you're about ready to play, not the one before, not the one after, not 3 shots away from here. It's in that moment that we want to stay.
But they say that the hardest shot in golf is the next one.
Mm-hmm. Well, golf's kind of a game of chess, and all we're doing is just setting ourselves up. And if we can stay in the moment and focus on that one shot, then things tend to fall in place.
But life is going on. There's so much. A round of golf can take you 4 hours, and you're only hitting the ball for a total of 10 minutes. How do we stay focused? What kind of tips can you provide us?
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is to kind of take little nature breaks, if you want to call them. On your way up to the ball, be focused on the shot that you're about ready to play. Okay, after that shot's played, then take a little mental vacation. Look around, look at the trees, look at, if you like to fish, think about fishing. If you like to hike, think about hiking. And that way you're not totally focusing on golf the entire time. You need to be able to pull yourself in and out. And then when you get up to the ball or you're walking to your next shot, then it's time to start focusing. I mean, let's look at, here's a perfect example. Lee Trevino. Laugh, joke around when he's played his shot, but when he gets ready to play his shot, he's all business. He plays the shot, shot's over, and he's loose and joking around again. Not all players are going to be like that, but that's a perfect example of how to stay in the moment. And after you've taken care of business, take a little break. If we concentrated a whole solid 4 hours straight without any little mental vacations like that, you'd have a really bad headache.
Ow, my head.
Yeah, and the shots wouldn't be as good either. No,
and you probably wouldn't enjoy yourself as much.
No, and golf shouldn't be a game of pain. It should be something fun, something enjoyable. When you stand behind and you're ready to play that shot, visually picture the perfect shot, what you think the perfect shot would be to hit. And then step on in there, and if you're committed to your routine and you're committed to that shot, then, there's a very good chance that that's what's going to happen.
There's a wide range of players that I've been introduced to while doing this program. People email me and tell me how they're doing, and it's hard to address everybody in all this, but I do know that there are a number of people who are new to the game, coming back to the game, especially not just after the long winter break, but after a number of years. If you have a kid, you just can't play golf that often anymore. Or, you played when you were a kid, now you've got a career. And as people come back and they're coming into it as a fresh sport, there's a lot that's going on in their mind every time they step up to hit the ball, especially if they've recently had a lesson or two. There's all these different things going on in their head that they have to do. How important is it to clear your mind before you address the ball? Or is it important to clear your mind?
It's huge. It is huge. I like to think of it kind of, when a client comes to me, like I mentioned earlier, I always try to find out what other sports, what other activities do you do or play. So once I find out what these are, then we try to relate these to golf so that it doesn't seem so foreign. Let's say you played basketball and you were a really good basketball player or a baseball player, and we're having a lesson, and I say, Fred, you're standing at the plate too long. And you say, but I'm ready. I said, Fred, we can't be standing at the plate all the time while the pitching coach is running out to the pitcher and he's discussing how he's going to strike you out and everything. But I'm ready, and you're in ready mode here. And as long as you're at the plate, you're going to be thinking. And in baseball, there's no time to think. Here comes the ball, you just swing. You just react to it. So if you get the garbage, if you want to call it, floating around in your head, like, how's my posture? Where's my ball position? Oh, where's my weight? All this stuff. And I see that. I pull you right out of there immediately and then have you go through the routine again, because the longer you're at the plate, the worse it's going to be. You're going to strike out. Same thing if your sport was basketball. If you think about the basketball players in the NCAA tournament just recently, you never saw any of them stand at the line the entire time while the ref was wiping the ball off and while the other coaches were sending players in and out. What was that player doing? He was walking around, and then when the referee wanted him, he went over to the line. But he didn't go to the line until he had to. And the reason why is because the longer he's at that line, or the longer you're at home plate ready for the pitch to come, the more you start to think. We don't want to be up there longer than we have to. That's why it's so important to have a pre-shot routine and to visualize your shot. The free throw shooters, they visualize their shot while they're going through their routine. You even see them take these air shots, while the ref still has the ball. And then they step up there. They've already programmed it in their heads, and they shoot or they swing the bat, and it goes. Because I'm not going to let you stand in that, at the home plate or at the free throw line longer than you have to, because if you do, you'll start thinking, and then it's over.
So true. Yeah. Well, it brings to mind that scene in the movie Bull Durham, where he steps up to the plate, and you hear him, his mind going. You hear him saying to himself, "Come on, meat, get it out of your head. Get it out of your head."
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that scene, but it made me think. Also, what you said made me think of Shaquille O'Neal. Does he spend too much time thinking about missing the shot when he's going to take a free throw?
I don't know about that. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And so what are the mental tendencies that golfers have?
Everyone's different, and everyone learns differently. So I wouldn't say that there are specific ones that everyone's going to have, because we all approach the game differently. But I will say that, my clients and people that come to me for help, the things that tend to come up are, I'm playing in this business outing, and I've never, I haven't really played a lot of rounds, and I'm really nervous, and especially on the first tee, everyone's looking at me. I don't want to look like I don't know what I'm doing, or, I'm out here. I do really well on the range, on the practice tee, But when I go to the golf course, it's like I'm having an out-of-body experience. What's this club and who am I? And I can't seem to get it together. What is it? Those are a few things that we run into. But I tell them, it's like with the practice situation, the reason why a lot of people tend to have trouble transferring really good practice to the golf course is because they don't practice like they should be playing. And what I mean by that is when you go to the golf course, all of a sudden you're implementing a routine. You're doing things that you don't do when you practice. Like all of a sudden you're taking into account wind and you're having to aim somewhere specific. Unfortunately, when we go to the practice tee, this is what I see. I see people, I call them raking hitters. They get up there and they rake a ball over, hit it. They don't let go of the club a lot of times, reach down, rake another one over, hit it, and they're not aiming at a specific target. They're not even going through a routine. Like we said, a lot of them don't even take their hands off the club, so they're not focusing on anything. And, routine is important. You've got to get back. You've got to go through the same routine that you do on the golf course. And if you do that, you're able to carry over practice to play so that when you cross the street to the golf course, your game goes with you. It's not back there on the practice tee somewhere.
For someone I've never met before, how come I feel like you've been watching me? Yeah, totally guilty, completely guilty of that. And I think what I end up doing is I'm just trying to get a good stroke in there. I'm trying to get one that feels right. Oh, okay, that one felt good. Now I'll change my clubs.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to get the full package, the good swing, connect well, good ball flight, in being comfortable at address, not being too tight, getting a nice breath before, all the different things. And when I get one, okay, I'm fine. Now I can move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm rake and hit, huh?
Well, I don't know. I'd have to see it for sure. I'm not going to tell you that you are. But I can tell you that the rake and hitters, anybody can be, the rake and hitters are whackers. And anybody can be a whacker because whackers are hackers.
Yeah, now you're talking.
And the reason why I say that is because they're not practicing with a purpose. They're just going out and they're buying the Gondo bucket of balls, and they're thinking, how many can I hit in 30 minutes and get my money's worth? If I hit all these balls, I'm going to get my money's worth. Well, what about if you get, let's say, a small bucket of balls that has maybe 40, 50 balls in it, and let's pick out a target. Let's visualize the shot you want to play. If you like to take a rehearsal swing, take that rehearsal swing, step on in there, line it up, and just have a clear head and let's play our shot. Because a lot of times people, when they get to the golf course when they get to the golf course, they tell me, I'm thinking too much. I get over the ball and I just can't focus. How do I do that? Well, you won't get efficient with it until you do practice like you play. And, that's why it's so important that when you're at the practice tee to do that, to start implementing it, especially if you're working with a professional who's helping you with your game. You're working on technique, but you also have to work on this. You're learning a new skill or refining a skill that you already have learned and you're making adjustments, well, when you get up there to the plate to play your shot, like the batter at the plate, do you still have all these refinements going through your head? No, that's not the place to do them. It's in the batter's box, away from the plate. Step away from the ball. Don't even get close to the ball, because the closer you are, the more tense you're going to get. Plan the technique back there. Let's say you're working on weight shift. Take your practice swing or do your drill that your teaching professional is having you work on behind the ball. And then once you do that, give yourself a nice big check because you've successfully planned it. And then step up to the plate, aim the club, and then just let it happen. But we have to be committed when we get in there. We need to practice with intention and not tension. Not be a whacker.
I want to flesh that out a little bit. Did you say practice with tension and without tension?
No, intention.
Oh, intention. Okay.
Intention. And attention.
Yeah. T-E-N-T-I-O-N, not T-E-N-S-I-O-N.
Right.
I was like, Wait a minute. I've never heard this before.
Yeah. Oh, it's earth-shattering. No. Intention and attention.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Tell me about some of the tools that you use as an instructor, not only technological tools, video, whatnot, but also mental tools that you use in your lessons. Well, I had a company approach me about a little over a year ago out of the Carolinas called the Mental Golf Workshop. And the program was developed by a gentleman that used to be the coach at the University of South Carolina. And, they said, we'd like for you to look at using our program with your clients. And I said, well, I don't want to do that until I find out more about it and I take the profile myself, because I want to make sure, before I even offer it to my clients, it has to work. So they said, sure, no problem, you can take it. So I took it. Took me about 20 minutes, took it online, and I got the results. And what this profile does is it gives you really a blueprint about your game and how you look at things, how you prepare for the round, your course management, what your tendencies are, your mental tendencies when you play shots, your golf temperament, things like that. It's not just a personality type profile, overall personality. It's your golf personality?
Well, the way it was explained to me by the developer of the program was that it was based on the DISC profile system, but it is geared to golf, specifically to golf. So, I took it, and I've taken other golf-related mental tests, if you want to call them that, and I didn't feel that they were accurate. Well, this one hit me dead on. I mean, it was down the board accurate.
It's kind of scary sometimes.
Yeah, but in a good way. And then, I called him back up and I said, "Okay, I'm ready. This checked out with me. I think you definitely have something here, and I'd like to offer it to my clients." Well, every client that's taken it has absolutely agreed. At first they're like, "A mental what?" And, I just explained to them that, hey, this is a blueprint for you and I to help you reach your game goals faster. And in fact, recently I've been working with some junior players. I have adults and kids take this, but I've had some junior players take this. And, the parents look over the profiles once the kids get them. They get the results right away. And I had a mom who doesn't play golf tell me, this is so my son. This is just so my son. She just, and I said, yeah, it's pretty neat how accurate it is, isn't it? And she said, oh, it's just so him, and she totally agreed with it.
Wow.
And these kids, like every one of my other clients that have taken it, they see the results because, now stuff makes sense to them. Well, I know I have trouble with this shot. Well, now I know why I have trouble with it because I look at it like this.
Oh.
And it gives you the feedback that you need. I get the feedback I need so that we can go directly to the problem or the tendency, and that we can make the necessary adjustments that we need to make to correct it, instead of going through, let's say 2 or 3 lessons before we hit on it. I mean, we kind of have an idea, but we don't know why. Or someone else can take the test, take the profile, and they get total, complete surprises. And what I mean by that is they see things that's like, oh, man, I didn't realize I was doing that, but now it makes sense, because if I'm doing that, that's what's leading to these higher scores. So it's really proved to be an effective tool.
And that can be found on the web?
Yes, it can. You can go to my website, www.noblett, N as in Nancy, O-B as in book, L-E, T as in Tom, T as in terrific, golf, GOLF.com. And you can click on Take the Mental Profile. And it takes you 20 minutes to take it. You get the results right away. I get emailed the results. And, here's another nice thing. Whether or not you decide to be a client of mine or to work with me, you have the results. You can now take it to your professional and say, hey, here I am. Let's fix it. It's a direct blueprint.
Well, good, because I think our listener in the Netherlands or in France might not be able to contact you directly to.
Yeah.
But they can still take this. All right. Well, again, it's noblettgolf.com, NOBLETTGOLF.com. And Suzanne Noblett, we thank you so much for spending this time. This was really fascinating stuff. I appreciate your time.
Well, thank you.